Welcome to the Killer Countdown, brought to you by Backlot 605. This is our horror-themed bi-weekly podcast where we rank the top 8 horror films of a specific topic. Only today we are not ranking horror films, and we'll discuss that later. But I'm your host, Casey Kelderman.
I'm Blake Ginithan.
Yes, Blake is back.
I'm back.
Back with a vengeance.
Yes. I actually thought about queuing up my phone to Back in the Saddle by Aerosmith. And then when you if you were to lead me in, I'd be like, boom, and I'd be like, I'm back, with Steven Tyler and all that. But anyways, I didn't. Hello, it's good.
Could have went with Back in Black, too.
No, I don't like AC/DC. So I'm super excited to be back. I think I had a scheduling thing the first time.
You were sick the first time.
No, I was not sick the first time.
Was that the second time?
It was the second time. The first time you
remember.
and Kayla did.
Yeah, we did kids horror
I think
movies.
I just got my schedules mixed up and I couldn't make it. And then I had the flu.
Was that the second time?
The second time,
yeah.
And I was in no condition to be talking about movies, unfortunately. But
you missed some good episodes, though. You had a chance to listen to both.
I did
right?
not listen to the kids.
Okay, you got to listen
movie.
to that one.
Yeah.
But you listened to last week's Universal Monsters, or 2 weeks ago, Universal Monsters.
Yeah, I listened to it. It took me about 2 weeks to listen to it. Yeah. But I listened to it. It was a good show.
What'd you think of that list?
I liked it a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do we have maybe one of the top 5 craziest picks in Killer Countdown history?
Yeah, I think so.
You have one yourself in that list.
Yeah, I'm a little upset I didn't go higher, but I know that it's more of a sentimental thing for me more than anything. So I think it's super cool that Van Helsing made it. It's
cool. Cool is not the term I would use. But yeah,
it's not my favorite movie, but it's an inspired pick, and I like that. Yeah, I think I need to rewatch The Mummy. I know there's probably
which one?
The 2017. I know people are yelling at me right now, like, no, you don't, but I really do want to see it, because when I hear someone speak about a movie that they really love and I didn't like it, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm missing something. So I really want to go back and explore that avenue at some point. I'm not going to rush out to do it.
I want to now after watching The Invisible Man.
The only problem is that I'm the biggest Tom Cruise fan in the world, but he's so miscast in that movie. Like it's insane.
And yeah, you heard. Yeah, I gave my gripes on that movie last week, so we don't need to get into it. I do want to revisit it because I was excited for the Dark Universe.
Yeah,
I was excited for what was going on.
Oh, they even had promo photos for that ready to go, and
they created merch for that.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah,
they need to either
collector's items, right?
Well, they need to just go with it, or redo The Mummy and then start that over again, or pick a different starting point. But they need to do something with it. Keep Tom Cruise out of it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Well, not on this episode.
No, not on this episode. Okay.
You and I will talk about it.
Okay.
Later. Yeah. But yeah, let's jump into what we usually do on the Killer Countdown. We have a lot of catching up to do, especially with you, because you've been gone for a month now.
I have been gone, yeah.
For our recent watches, which we usually start off with.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, I have 9 horror watches.
I have about 8.
Yeah.
So a lot of the show is going to be us discussing a recent watch, which is fine with me because we have some opinions.
We have quite a few, and we have some overlap too.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. But we should mention our main topic for this week, though, too.
Yeah, is not horror.
Is not horror. So we're going to talk horror at the beginning, not horror specifically at the end. We're going to be talking about our favorite scenes from non-horror movies.
Favorite scary scenes from non-horror movies, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they have to be scary. Favorite scary scenes from non-horror movies.
We're not going to talk about Forrest Gump or anything like that.
That's a scary movie.
Or well, I don't know.
I'm not just going
to take your choice of any other Tom Hanks movie.
We're not just going to gush about Wayne's World for 2 hours.
Right.
But yeah, we're going to talk about our favorite scary scenes from non-horror movies.
Yeah, I'm excited because I have zero idea what you're going to play, and it was fun to go back and kind of relive childhood moments because there's some that I have specific memories of
being scared of as a kid. Yeah.
So,
I think there's we're gonna have a lot of flashbacks back into this. So, but let's start off with our recent watches. Do you want to kick it off? Otherwise,
sure.
I got a double feature I can kick it off
the
with.
very last movie I watched was last night, and it was the original Hatchet.
I saw this on your letterbox.
Wow, this movie does not hold up for me. I have like these strong feelings for certain scenes. And I never knew where they were in the series. I've seen the first three. I've not seen the last one. But this first one is, I don't know, like it feels like a direct-to-video movie, and it takes quite a while to get to the mayhem. And it's a short movie already. It's only an hour and 25 minutes with credits. So it takes a while to get to where it's going. Has a really cool cameo by Tony Todd, which I always love seeing Tony Todd pop up in movies.
Robert Englund's in the opening scene.
Robert Englund is in there. But when it gets to the carnage, it's a lot of fun because Victor Crowley is I don't know if there must have been some sort of directive from Adam Green to just be like, you're going to annihilate people's bodies. And like, there's one scene that had me just laughing so hard. I believe is it Bill Murray's brother or
Brian Doyle Murray?
Yeah, he gets like his shoulder chopped off, and it just goes on for what feels like forever, and he's screaming in pain, and the blood squirting reminds me a lot of Kill Bill, where like Uma Thurman will cut a guy's head off, and like it's just a geyser
keeps going.
Yeah, and so a lot of so there's some clear choices by Adam Green to just really go in on the gore and the blood and how hard the violence is. The violence is so hard and so heavy that it almost seems like it's very funny, and I think that's the point. But
it's definitely a throwback to those 80s slashers.
Yeah,
especially Friday the 13th and Madman are two very big inspirations.
Yeah, totally. The issues that I have is like it felt very like 2000 bro-y, like college dorm room. There's a lot of like
they're shooting a Girls Gone Wild.
Well, there's that. There's also like they keep calling someone like a queer, and like it just like it really shows its age. And I'm not gonna.
What year was it?
07 or something. And so it just felt like the movie didn't age well, and it's not terrible, but it definitely didn't hold up its value for me. But I'm gonna go watch the second two, and knowing what I watched last night, or remembering what I watched last night, I know now that the scenes I remember are from the second and the third movie, where he takes out SWAT teams and hunters with guns and stuff. Have you seen the?
I've never. I've seen the first Hatchet probably 2-3 times at least, and then I've never seen any of the sequels.
The sequels, like they send out like 20-30 guys after him, and he just rips people to shreds. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to binge watch that entire series at some point. I just need to pick them up, I think.
They're on Amazon Prime if you...
I don't have Prime.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I love the first Hatchet movie. Like, I think it's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I think it's a ton of fun. I think Victor Crowley is just an underrated slasher.
I don't think I'd call him a slasher, but he's definitely an underrated like evil in horror. Like when we talk about the big franchises of,
well, even like modern ones, everybody's like,
there's no modern.
That's what I'm
villain.
saying. I'm like
everyone's like, oh, Jigsaw, who I think is like the most boring villain in the world. And then are there any other franchise?
I think the latest one that's starting to kick off is Art the Clown, even though he's had one movie.
It's at 2.
Going to be, well, yeah.
He's in 2 movies.
Yeah, but no one counts that
wow.
anthology. Yeah. But yeah, he's going to have a sequel, and so we'll see if that continues with him. But I think Victor Crowley's unfortunately lost in the shuffle, but I think he's the best out of
he's
modern ones.
He's no nonsense. Like, he doesn't wait to tease anyone. Like, he literally just walks into a room and is like, all right, whose arm am I going to rip off and hit another guy?
Who am I going to split in half?
Yeah. It's just the effects work is incredible. Like,
and Kane Hodder is great as Victor Crowley.
Yeah,
he's so much fun.
Yeah. I really enjoy Victor Crowley. I mean, like, I wouldn't even call him a villain. He's just like this fun dude who like got picked on as a kid and just wants to
very Jason
beat up
Voorhees
people.
type.
So I really enjoy his presence a lot.
Yeah, I had a double feature that I'll start off with.
If it's the movie you watched last night, let's save that for the end.
No, it's not.
Okay, perfect.
No. This was from last weekend. I threw a Dino double feature at my house.
Oh,
Tammy and the T-Rex.
I wanted to come
and
to
the
that.
Velocipaster. Yeah, you were vacationing.
I was
on
vacation. Yeah.
The Tammy and the T-Rex on Shudder right now. It's the big gore cut everybody's talking about. This movie's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's nothing to go brag about. I don't think. I think it's just a lot of. Have you watched?
Yeah, I have
recently.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I loved it.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I do. I think some of the acting is just bonkers crazy.
Again, there's some weird like homoerotic stuff in there that maybe isn't age well, but
yeah, the friend.
That scene where they both grab each other's nuts and are like, fighting and
and then the bumbling idiot cops make a few comments to the police chief's gay son that just don't fly anymore. Right. I'm like, nah.
But yeah, it doesn't ruin the experience for me. But I had a
the
blast.
Premise is crazy. Yeah, I love it.
And like
the scene you kept telling me about is when he goes to the payphone, and tries to call her, and then he takes his little dinosaur T-Rex finger and it's the coin return. Yeah, like that's amazing. Yeah, that's so much fun.
I enjoyed that they knew like some movies they'll be like, oh, this idea is ridiculous, and they kind of like try to keep it. They try to make it maybe like a more real world. And it's like,
how would people actually react to this?
And this one is like they triple down on how insane it is.
Every actor knows what movie they are in.
Exactly. Yeah,
they all know what movie.
Yeah, I mean, like, and in that weird way, Denise Richards actually gives like a really good performance.
She does. Yeah, she's fun.
Like, there's a scene where this gang wants to beat up Paul Walker, and they pull up to to Denise Richards' home, and like her dad answers the door, and like they push their way past him, like he doesn't own the house. Yeah, and I was like, why? Like,
he just stops too. He stops. Yeah. You can't go up there. Yeah. I'm like, dude, it's your house.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed stuff like that.
The guy that plays Isaac in Children of the Corn, he plays the scientist in this movie. He's so much fun.
Yeah.
That just sneevling little voice.
I love the scene at the very end where she's trying on clothes. And he's watching, and he's like, "No, that, or yeah, that." Like, I love
just the brain.
It's just insanity.
Oh yeah, baby! Like, it is pretty insane.
Yeah.
But the second one I watched, the Velocipaster.
I have not seen this.
So I liked the Velocipaster more than Tammy and the T-Rex, but I would recommend Tammy and the T-Rex before I would ever recommend Velocipaster. It's a very different sensibility you got to have watching the Velocipaster. So the basic premise is that this guy keeps having dreams about this stone that he found in Japan. And basically, it turns him into a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type thing, but he turns into a Velociraptor.
Okay.
And he is also a priest.
Of course.
Hence the title Velocipaster.
Right.
But he befriends this hooker, and they begin like a friendship sort of relationship. And yeah, she's getting chased by her former pimp and a bunch of ninjas. There's a lot going on in this movie. It's a lot of fun.
This sounds like a canon movie.
Yeah, it is crazy, but it is also very well acted for a probably less than $10,000 budget. Like it's a really low budget.
Huh.
There's even within the first 5 minutes you probably know if you're in or out because there's a shot of like the main character's parents, the obligatory "my parents died, now I'm out for vengeance" type of setup.
Yeah.
So it shows his parents entering their car, and then the car just disappears and says "insert VFX here."
Oh, I might be out on that then.
Yeah, I was in. I was rolling. I'm like, yep, I'm in for this movie.
Interesting.
I think it's a lot of fun. There's a ninja subplot in it, like I said, and one of all the ninjas except the main one are white, which I think is really funny. But his sidekick, the main ninja's sidekick, they try to do like a maniacal evil laugh, but it turns out to be like just this 30-second awkward laugh from the white guy.
This kind of sounds like Kung Fury a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. And I like Kung Fury a lot.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not anything to probably go rave about, but I enjoyed it a lot more than.
It'd be fun to listen to you and Corey go on about it because Corey loved this movie.
Corey loved this movie, and I'm right there with him. Like I think it's I say it's nothing to rave about, but I would rave about it, but I'm not going to recommend it to people.
What order did you watch these movies in?
Tammy and the T-Rex first, Velocipaster. At the party, I had 2 people leave during the Velocipaster, so if that makes any sense for the movie, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Tammy and the T-Rex has something going for it where you're like, I recognize that person and that person.
Well, it also
everybody's
it
crazy
also doesn't
in it.
stop to like roll their eyes at how ridiculous everything it is. Like it just has this energy that doesn't stop. It never stops moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the Velocipaster has like face-to-face talking scenes throughout it, and they're actually well acted and pretty well written and charming and funny.
Yeah.
So for a movie party, it's probably not the one to throw on, unfortunately. But Tammy and the T-Rex is definitely a party movie.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, yeah, I also thought about doing a Tammy and the T-Rex for a double feature, but that's cool that you did that.
Yeah, I'd watch it again. Yeah, there's plenty of bad dinosaur movies to throw on with it.
Yeah, maybe like Carnosaur next time.
Carnosaur or Theodore Rex, I don't know. What else you got on your list?
Oh boy, my next movie that I watched. I'm gonna do this one because I need you to walk me through why I didn't like it. I watched Tigers Are Not Afraid.
Okay.
And I was severely disappointed with this movie. I don't even think I'd classify it as a horror movie for one.
It's as much of a horror movie as Pan's Labyrinth is.
I semi-disagree with that, but yeah, I mean,
it's a dark fantasy.
It's very well acted for one thing. I don't know. I didn't connect with this movie at all, and I don't know why. It felt very cheap, very. I don't know. It's. If you have not seen Tigers Not Afraid, I'm not telling you not to watch it. I'll never say don't watch the movie. Don't watch this movie. It's on Shudder. It's getting a lot of critical acclaim. The woman who directed it is now making a big budget follow up. I don't know what it's called or anything, but
a werewolf western produced by Guillermo del Toro.
That sounds very cool, actually. But yeah, I don't know. I just I didn't connect to it, and I really wanted to love the movie, and I don't know, it just didn't work for me.
Because I put it on our best of the year list.
Yeah.
Because I think it has to fall under the horror umbrella for me.
No,
because
right.
I don't know what else you would classify it as. It's definitely dark fantasy, but then there is ghostly elements to it as well, so you'd have to. But besides that, I think it's a very good I don't want to say children's story because that would almost.
Well, it is.
But it's a great children's story, telling about these children that live in Mexico during this the drug war that's going on.
Yep.
I think all the acting is fantastic.
Yeah.
The kids and how they interact, I felt like I knew these kids because the community I grew up in was pretty much 50% Hispanic, 50% white.
Okay.
So I knew how some of these kids acted and reacted to certain situations. Like I felt like I knew these kids.
Yeah.
That's how I connected to it. But maybe if you don't have that connection, maybe there's a disconnect. I don't know. But yeah, it's not the film that you would expect to see on Shudder if you're going in for scares.
Yeah.
It's definitely more of a character piece and more of.
And this is why sometimes it's good to see a movie during the hype, maybe, or when it's when it first comes out.
It's just hitting.
Because I mean it's been out for a year now, maybe.
Yeah.
And I just now saw it a few weeks ago, so. When you go into a movie and there's so much hype
and you hear everyone saying, "Oh, it's great, it's great, it's great."
Yeah, and so I don't know. It didn't move a meter for me. So
yeah,
so
that's unfortunate.
It is.
No, I think it warrants a rewatch at least for me.
I'll watch it in a few years. And see where it's at. See where I'm
maybe
at.
double bill it with a Del Toro movie. I don't know. Maybe if that will, because it feels very Del Toro to me. Early,
and
Del
that
Toro.
might be the thing. I'm not a big fan of Guillermo del Toro either. So
yeah, that could be it.
Yeah.
Next one I have on my watch list. I'll briefly go through it because we talked about it a few weeks ago with you on an episode. I finally watched Midsummer. I was finally
and I don't know your thoughts on it. So.
Yeah, I finally went to Best Buy and I saw it there. And I'm like, I'm getting it. I don't have it. Everybody else, literally everyone I know has seen this movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it. So I did a I Hate Men double feature with that and Invisible Man. And it was a lot.
I don't think Invisible Man's an I Hate Men
That's
movie.
a joke, yeah. But Midsummer
probably is, though.
Yeah, a little bit. I just want to give Ari Aster a hug. He's going through some stuff. I feel bad for him.
No, I think
I think the movie helped him go through that stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he got a lot out with what he wanted to say.
Yeah,
but,
I felt he had a lot to say in Hereditary, and then following it up with this, I'm like, dude, you're working through some shit, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he did, because this is a fantastic movie.
That's good.
Yeah, Florence Pugh is fantastic. Jack Rayner goes through a lot in this movie. He does a lot, and no one's really talking about it.
I definitely do not feel bad for Jack Rayner at all.
As the actor or the character?
The character.
Oh, I don't feel bad for the character.
Yeah.
But the actor, he's also put through or given a lot to do as far as physical stuff he has to do.
He has a certain sequence that
towards the end.
I hope he was compensated well for what he had to go through.
Yeah. This is just fantastically shot. It's just a beautiful film to look at. The score is fantastic.
Yeah.
I wish I saw it on the big screen. That's my only regret with watching this movie at home.
Yeah.
Like, my screen's not big enough.
Your screen's not big enough. Do you even have speakers?
Not
Dude,
as loud. No. I'm like,
when we were in the
as
theater,
soon as I'm watching, I'm like, I needed to see this. In the theater.
There's a scene where they're driving in a car to the village or whatever you want to call it, and like the camera flips upside down or something, and the bass was so heavy in the theater that the seats were rattling. It's just, like, you can't. Sometimes it's hard to experience a movie without that happening. And another movie that happened with was Annihilation, where it was so unbelievably loud, but not to where like I had to like plug my ears, just so like it was so overwhelming. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. I
don't know about you with Midsummer, but I knew what was going to happen throughout the movie.
Well, they tell you.
Yeah. There's literally a sequence where it shows
there's literally a sequence with blankets where they tell you everything that's going to happen.
But even during just single scenes where they don't explain during that the paintings on the wall or whatever, you can still what's going to happen, but there's also this just constant dread because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
especially with the scene with the two elders of the village.
It's very well controlled.
Yeah. It's he does not hold back either, and that's what I applaud Ari Aster for.
And I also applaud A24 for just being like, we're going to give this guy, $10 million to make this, and we're going to wide release it for a mass audience. And I mean, I went opening day. Maybe it was July 4th when I went. My wife and I went July 4th, and there was like 2 other people in the theater. And I love that when that happens, because I'm constantly like, what is this other person like? Am I like? Midsummer is one of the movies where you're like, am I seeing this on a movie screen right now? And there's a lot of sequences with this movie, and then my mind is always like, I wonder what this person over here thinks about this. So I need to watch it again, but I really, really enjoyed Midsummer quite a lot.
Yeah, I like Hereditary more, but Midsummer for me is right behind it. Man, they're 2 very different movies though, so it's hard to compare.
And what I love about the opening of Midsummer is that there's like a 10 or 15 minute sequence where if you hadn't seen the trailer, you'd be like, oh, I'm getting Hereditary Part 2, and then it switches to like this beautiful DMT infused trip, and man, there's just nothing like it. I mean, and like I said when we did our A24 draft, like, people can make Wicker Man comparisons all day if they want to, but like, he still does his own thing with this. And there's a big burning of the effigy at the end and whatnot, but like, it's still not quite.
It's not the Wicker Man.
Yeah, it's not the Wicker Man.
Different movie.
So quit saying crap like that, and enjoy it for what it is, because you don't get big release movies like this very often.
Yeah, and I'm glad I finally.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what Ari Aster does next.
Yeah. I don't know if his stuff has been announced yet, what he's doing next.
So. I'm sure he's going to take a break and maybe collect himself and go through another tragedy or something.
He deserves it after that.
Yeah.
What do you got next?
Ooh, what do I have next? All right. I have 3 that I just want to go through really quickly because I know I have 3 that I wanted to spend more time on. But I watched Come to Daddy, which is a new Elijah Wood movie. This is really, really interesting. Again, this movie kind of like maybe isn't a horror movie, but it would fall under the horror umbrella. Elijah Woods plays this millennial who gets a letter from his dad, who he has not seen since he was a kid, asking him to come visit. And so he flies out to, I think it's Oregon or something. He lives literally on the beach, right over the ocean, in this really gorgeous house. And his dad is played by Stephen McHattie, who's the great Canadian character actor who's in Pontypool and The Immortals and A History of Violence. He's a tremendous, tremendous actor. And like as soon as Elijah Woods gets there, he has this big disconnect with his dad, and then you realize like there's gonna be a disconnect when you haven't seen somebody for a while. But like there's just weird things where Stephen McHattie like gets very like upset about things, and where like a dad wouldn't do that normally,
especially if you haven't seen him in a while.
Right. And so like he's very antagonistic towards Elijah Woods, and I don't want to ruin what happens because there's like a twist like 40 minutes into it. And then the movie gets absolutely bonkers violent. And what I loved about Come to Daddy was that the movie is constantly escalating situations for Elijah Wood, but it doesn't feel like they're doing it just because they want to put him into worse situations. Like he makes choices that lead him to worse situations, and you're like, whoa, this actually feels like the characters are deciding where everything's going, and not like a screenwriter like, oh, what's worse than this, you know? So it feels very real and not calculated or manufactured, and I really had a ball with this movie, and I think you'd enjoy it too.
Yeah, it's on my watch for this year because I made a New Year's resolution to myself: watch every horror movie that comes out.
Oof, yeah, you're not gonna.
I'm not going to, but this is one on the list because this just came out within the last month.
Yep.
Couple weeks.
Yep.
Yeah. What else you got on your?
I watched
quick...
the Beyond, which you also watched.
Yeah.
I think you watched it, and then like you texted me, and I watched it right after you did.
Yeah.
So we watched it a couple hours apart. I thought it was great. This movie's nuts. I haven't seen a ton of Fulci, so I'm really excited to deep dive into what's available on Shudder at least and see. But there's a lot of great gore.
We'll do a Fulci episode at some point.
A lot of great atmosphere. Man, that scene where they're in the morgue and they're trying to get out is just.
Gore effects in this movie are insane.
There's a tarantula scene that just goes on forever, and it's great. I love
so much eyeball gore.
I love the Beyond. And then I watched Joe Bigos. Joe Bigos is VFW. I'm so sorry, VFW. This is like if someone remade Assault on Precinct 13 and then gave everybody DMT or drugs or meth and just it's a balls to the wall, like just take the violence and bliss and just like quadruple it, and it's just about these old vets who have to defend their VFW against mutant meth users, and there's nothing spared in this movie. They just go balls to the wall. Yeah. I didn't love it, but it's a lot of fun. And you
didn't love Bliss though either.
Yeah, Bliss is a hard movie to love, but
I loved Bliss.
for me it was hard to love.
Yeah. I'm stoked to watch this movie because you told me like if you love Bliss, you're gonna fucking love.
Yeah,
this
so
like, yes.
So it looks like he shot on 16 millimeter, which is what
he shot. Yes, he did.
But I don't think he did.
He said he shot both in 16.
He did. Yeah. Okay, because I looked at behind the scenes photos. It looked like he shot on digital with the cameras he used. But maybe it was 16 because it's very, very grainy. Very kind of like washed out colors, but still like lit up neon and stuff. Man, you got like David Patrick Kelly, who's the guy from the Warriors, who's like, Warriors, come out and play. So you have him. You have Fred Williamson. You have Stephen Lang. George Wendt, Oh, I know him. William Sadler. Oh, the great William Sadler's in this.
The Cobra Kai.
Yes, Martin Cove.
Sweep the
he
leg.
is fantastic in this movie.
He's making a comeback.
So you have all these guys.
Lately.
Yeah, he's got the Progressive commercial or whatever. But
and the Karate Kid show.
Yeah. So you have all these old guys who are kind of like, from my generation, grew up watching in the 80s. In those exploitation movies, these guys just coming together to just annihilate young punks. It's a lot of fun.
The stuff Joe watched as a kid.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm going to bring these guys back. I want to watch them murder a bunch of mutant teenagers.
It's a ton of fun. And Graham Skipper gets absolutely annihilated in this. So, a lot of fun.
Yeah. Did you... Quick sidetrack. Did you watch the latest screen drafts with those two on it?
I am the first pick in.
Okay.
So
I finished watching it. It's good.
Oh.
Go check out Screen Drafts, the latest episode, 1992 horror movies. Joe Bagos and Graham Skipper.
Their first pick is a big surprise, but a welcome one because I enjoy that movie too. But anyway.
All right.
Yeah, so those are the three that I watched. We can move on to yours next one.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing that you did.
Because the final three I really want to talk about. So.
Okay. I wonder what your final three are then. All right. I watched House from 1985.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
It's different.
It's fun.
It's different. I need to watch it again because when I watched it, it was not what I was expecting it to be.
Yeah. This is like the first movie I would show a kid.
Oh.
For a horror movie.
Okay, maybe.
Because I'm like the monsters
like a 10-year-old maybe?
Yeah. I'm like, the monsters are kind of goofy. They would maybe scare a kid, but they're not too much where the kid's going to want to shut off the movie and not ever watch it again.
Yeah, I feel like, have you seen Terror Vision?
No.
You should watch. Okay, I feel like this and Terror Vision would be like a great double feature for a kid. Because Terror Vision has some like if you were 5, 6, 7 years old, you look at it and you'd be terrified because of what you're seeing. But like as an adult, you're like, this is funny as hell. Yeah. So man, I need to rewatch House now.
It's fun. I thought it was a blast.
Is it on Shudder?
No, Tubi I watched.
I'm gonna stay away from Tubi.
We'll get into Tubi later. This transfer is pretty good on this movie for the Tubi app. Directed by Steve Miner, who did the part 2 and 3 of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Sean Cunningham produced this, so there's your connection between the two.
Okay.
This movie's a lot of fun.
Okay.
Norm from Cheers is in it.
George Wendt.
Yeah.
VFW.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a ton of fun. The next ones I'll go through quick. I rewatched Pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
For like
already?
the third time.
You like it a lot, huh?
I like Pieces a lot.
Okay.
Hopefully our next guest isn't listening to this because it'll pop up in an upcoming episode.
Interesting. I always get Pieces and Torso mixed up.
Yeah, I've never watched Torso, but I've watched Pieces 3 times now. I love Pieces. It's so much fun.
Wow.
My fiance hates slashers.
She loves it.
She loves Pieces.
Wow.
So I don't know if that tells anything about it. I don't know. I watched Alice, Sweet Alice for the first time.
Yeah, that movie rules.
It's not fun at all.
No?
No, it's not fun, but I
thought you gave it like a 3 or 3.5.
Yeah, but it's not fun.
It's slow.
It's slow. It's a pacing slasher where you actually care about what's going on. There's actually themes to it. It's I don't want to be that person where it's an actual movie. It's an actual movie. There's a plot going on. It has stuff to say.
I haven't seen it and I've seen it a couple times, and I haven't seen it probably since like 2005. But I remember like the jump scares like really being effective.
Oh, the jump scares are great.
Yeah.
I just mean like there's not like in Pieces. There's a kill every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. This movie's like we're gonna plot this out. We're gonna plan it out. We're gonna do character study here and follow this character.
Have you seen Curtains?
No, I haven't. That's on my watch list for the next couple weeks.
Curtains. I don't know why. Curtains reminds me a lot of Alice, Sweet Alice. Yeah. And then you should the big connection. You need to watch Don't Look Now, which also features an important character in like a raincoat type thing too. So
yeah, I thought the acting is great in Alice, Sweet Alice. The kid actors are really good. There's a lot to say in that movie.
Yeah,
there's a lot to say about puberty and religion and marital affairs.
Yeah,
he was going through a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
doing that movie. And then the last one I had on here, I just watched last night, Polaroid.
Okay.
So this movie was on the post-production shelf forever. Yeah. Because I remember watching the trailer for this movie 3 years ago in the theater.
Okay.
I don't know what movie I was at.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, it looks fun. and then and then I forgot about it after, and it sat on the shelf because it was a Weinstein film. We don't need to get into that. But yeah, it's finally made its way to VOD. It's on Netflix right now. I think Netflix is kind of the big release for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of where it ended up. Yeah, this movie's terrible.
I think like the
I don't want to just say terrible.
I
But
think the short was based off of was like supposed to be good or something. But.
yeah, I've never watched the short. I kind of want to go back to it. It's directed by Lars Klevberg, who did the Child's Play remake.
Yeah.
Hopefully that one's better than this.
So you haven't seen it yet?
I have not. I refuse to watch it.
Oh, well then you can't. Oh. You know, after Andy's glowing review of Child's Play, I really want to rewatch it with like a fresh set of eyes because I was excited to watch it because I loved the first one, and I'm not going to be that guy who's like, oh, I'm not doing it because I love the original. So I really was excited to watch it.
Oh, that's not why I'm not going to watch it.
No, I'm not saying you. But I really despise the remake of Child's Play, but I want to watch it again because Andy, I feel like Andy and I we really float pretty close in terms of I remember when he'd release reviews, like it was either spot on in terms of like a star rating or like a half or like 1 star off. Yeah. So like I need to.
And then Andy watched The Beyond and didn't like
it. Yeah, did he? Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh my! Oh, that's
2.5.
Okay, well that is slowly changing, I guess.
Andrew.
But yeah, so I respect him enough that I want to rewatch Child's Play remake.
Yeah, I have reasons not to watch it. One of them being Don Mancini is still doing his own thing, and they never asked him his opinion on this remake, and they never asked him to give him thoughts or produce or anything. Like that's kind of.
I'm sure he's getting royalties off
BS. No, he's not.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. But yeah, Polaroid. If you like movies like Ouija, the first one, Bye Bye Man, Wish Upon, those type of PG-13 horror movies, you're gonna dig this movie.
Yeah.
I would say I would recommend it to someone who is like in high school right now, has never really watched horror movies. You're about 14, 15 years old, and you kind of want to just get spooked on a Saturday night. This is probably the movie to watch.
I would still recommend The Exorcist, but...
Well, if they're not going to go watch it, well, that's an old movie. You know, those type of kids, where it has to be something modern. Sure, I'd recommend it to them. Just go read the Goosebumps book, Say Cheese and Die.
Oh, yeah, I have.
Yeah, just go watch that or read that instead.
Yeah.
Or watch the Ryan Gosling episode of Goosebumps.
Is he in that?
He's in that. Damn. He's the star of it.
The Goss.
It's a good episode, too.
Okay.
But yeah, Polaroid. Not recommend, but it's on Netflix if you're listening and you're 15 years old. And
oh, it's on Netflix already?
It's on Netflix, yeah.
I'd seen everybody like reviewing it, so I'm like, oh, it finally came on. And I'm terrible at following what's new in theaters. I count on Derek for that. But
no, it just kind of snuck onto Netflix.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
All right, what do we got?
So
round this.
I'm going to start with It Chapter 2.
Okay.
I did not like the first one. I think it has some serious tonal issues with how it's happy 1 second and then the next second it's not happy, and it just doesn't work for me. And the kid, I just like Finn Wolfhard. That like the kid can't act for me. I can't get into him at all.
I think he's better in It than he is in Stranger Things.
I'll disagree, but that's okay.
We'll disagree a little later when you get into It Chapter 2. So
yeah,
go ahead.
I thought this was a great time. I thought the 3 hours flew by, and for people saying that the kids stuff was more interesting than the adults, I completely 100% disagree. I think the adults were way more fascinating than the kids in this. I thought the movie's ability to just have one there's one section of the movie. I feel like it starts like an hour in. Like I feel like hour 2 to the third hour
the second
is like
act.
It's literally all like, how are we going to scare each of these people into doing what they need to do? And I thought that was handled really well. I don't know what it was. Like all the issues that people had with the movie like did not bother me, and I was completely shocked by that. And I really enjoyed this movie quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite end. We gave it about the same rating, but I'm leaning more towards the negative, unfortunately.
You gave it a higher rating than I did.
Probably. By like half star, 1 star maybe.
Yeah.
I really liked the first one. Close to love.
Yeah.
I think the kid stuff is great. I think it's also part of the source material. You're probably more connected to the kid stuff for me. Because even in the Tim Curry TV movie, I think all the adult stuff in that is terrible. But here in the second one, I thought it was fine. Like I didn't love it, and I don't want to say I hated it either.
The kid stuff?
No, the movie in general. The kid stuff in it Chapter 2 should just not have been in the movie. I would have. There's one scene at the end.
Yeah, it did not. No. It did not need to be there.
So apart from the CGI, it didn't need to be there either. Like the CGI, I thought it was terrible.
For what? For
the kids.
I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, I did. Everybody in my theater did, and there was a few laughs. I might have been one of them. But like the kid stuff didn't need to be in the movie though either, right?
No, not at all.
There's one shot at the end where they're walking down the main street of Derry and they look towards a building and they see their reflection. I'm like, that should have just been it. That's the kid scene.
Yeah.
That's all you needed in it.
Yeah. I wonder if people would have gone to it if they didn't have any kid stuff in it. I'm wondering.
Yeah, I would have to go back and look at the trailer. Is there kid stuff in the trailer?
Yeah.
Is there?
Pretty sure.
Okay. I don't. I would have just intercut the trailer with scenes from the first one.
Yeah. I agree. I did not. I thought the kid stuff really slowed everything down.
And you talk about tonal shifts. I thought this one had worse tonal shifts. There's one scene in particular in the basement of
where that song comes in.
The song comes in. Oh,
but it's not as bad as when like they're throwing rocks and all of a sudden like Slayer comes on.
Oh, it's worse than that.
No, it's not. Yeah. No, it's not. And then the scene where
there was groans in my theater when that happened.
The scene where like the first one where the girl shuts the door or whatever, and then like
that's bad.
New Kids on the Block plays. It's like, what is happening? Like I don't know who. Like
I think part of it is the editing of music into these scenes. It just doesn't work.
It does not work.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work in either of the two movies.
Yeah, I think that's a big part. I think editing is my biggest problem with both of these movies. Yeah. That's why I am still excited to watch this big 5-6 hour cut.
Having said that, I am excited to see a longer cut of this.
Yeah. Because I think when you do that, he can intersect the kid stuff from the first movie into what's happening in the second movie. Like you can edit.
Yeah, a big book.
The book into this.
Yeah.
Update your CGI a little on the kids later.
Or take them out.
When you're doing that in post. There's some of the kids that look fine, but some of them just look...
Yeah, I did not notice it at all.
I would say half of the kids looked goofy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think it's fun. It's still fun.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not.
I liked it more than... Yeah, I liked it.
The third act with Giant Pennywise is much better than the Tim Curry Giant Spider. So I'll give it that.
I enjoyed how for some reason it might have gone on a little too long, but I just had a lot of fun with it. So
yeah, I thought. And one last thing for me, Bill Hader's fantastic in it.
Disagree.
You're like the contrarian. Like your title of Blake the Contrarian is more present in this movie.
I just like he's just playing himself in the movie. We'll
agree to disagree.
Yeah, okay. I thought
we'll agree more on our next two movies.
I thought Jessica Chastain was really good.
She's good.
She's good in everything.
James McAvoy's
really good.
And it's a different McAvoy because I feel like he's having a lot of fun too, while also being like tormented.
Yeah. I think he just knows the material well enough to where he treats it with respect.
He knows what he's in.
Yeah. And for me, Bill Hader just was kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna be that guy who's gonna throw a joke out every 10 seconds to relieve pressure. And like, I generally don't like when movies relieve pressure for the audience. I love it when a filmmaker goes all in on tension, and so I naturally just go against like any sort of comic relief. Like I just don't like it.
I like it when it fits. Bill Hader stuff.
And I'm not saying Bill Hader wasn't good. It's just like when you were like
a lot of it is
like I don't know if it was you or somebody else was like, oh, he deserves Oscar nomination. I'm kind of like, I was watching it and I'm like, I do not know where this is coming from. If I'm watching a different movie or what. And like I said, I don't think you said it, but I did read some of that online where it's like, where's the award consideration? And I finally watched it and I'm like, I was expecting like some real depth to his character, but like all he did was just like throw jokes out to be funny, and it's like, come on.
Third act, there's depth to him.
But I get it. He is a comedian in the movie too, so yeah.
Well, yeah, he is playing himself pretty much.
Right, it didn't work for me. So.
Yeah. Let's move on to our next two.
The Invisible Man.
Okay.
I liked it a lot. Did you like it?
Invisible Man, 2020, Lee Winnell.
I saw it yesterday.
Yeah, I saw it opening weekend. Yeah, I've only gone to 2 movies in the theater this year. One was Gretel and Hansel. Not my favorite. But Invisible Man, I'm like, yeah, I'm into this. I dig it. I was like, it's hard for me going to movies especially horror movies, to get tense during them. Last one I remember is obviously Uncut Gems.
Yeah, which is not a horror
for
movie,
very
but
different reasons.
Yeah.
But this, I was on edge for quite the opening sequence when Elizabeth Moss is walking through the house.
That's very good.
Yep, I'm in. There's a few shock moments where I'm like, oh my god.
I agree with you. I do think once the movie gets to maybe like 45, 50 minutes, it starts to lose me a little bit. I think the peak of those sequences were like, what I love about The Invisible Man is there's just like, there's shots in movies where a director will move the camera through a house and just kind of like to show you the setup, a home setup, like space. And the brilliant thing about this movie is that Liam Winnell uses that in this, but he's totally watching, like you're just watching space, but you're actually watching this.
But you're like, is something there?
There's something there.
Like there's shots of Elizabeth Moss. She's on one side of her room, she walks to the other side. The camera stays there.
Right.
She's doing something else.
Or there's shots where she's sitting still and the camera moves over and then she moves into it. So it's very well directed. I don't want to call anybody out. I'm not going to name names. Someone said that the movie really gets under your skin and like really sets up like this idea of you're not alone. And I understand that. And I think the movie loses that halfway through. Like there's parts where like I stopped really being like, oh, where is he? You know, unless the camera like sort of gave me that direction. And so I think the second act really slows the movie down and then ramps it up when like he becomes the predator, which it's cool, but like it's like, all right, I don't know, like whatever, you know.
The more modern take on
how
he becomes the Invisible Man.
And there was a point in the movie where I was kind of like, I wish they didn't. Okay, I'm gonna say this is not a pun. I wish they didn't upgrade the idea of like the suit. You know, like, oh, it's a suit. It's like, it's kind of cheesy. But the more I thought about it, like, he's a scientist in all the movies. You know, like he's this inventor.
Yeah.
So like it's not really like a far-fetched idea that at this point in our society that he has created this whole thing. And
it makes sense why it would be a suit, not him drinking a formula.
Right. So I threw that aside because I was like, okay, that actually makes sense to me. I really didn't like him becoming the predator, but it like, man, what now like has this certain aesthetic when directing action sequences that's so fun to watch, especially in Upgrade, which.
There's a lot of upgrade in the fight sequences.
Yeah,
in this.
A couple times. Yeah, there's a great sequence where
the breakout scene, going into the third act,
where I sort of love the trope of like all the like one level of security guards runs in, they get killed or annihilated, and then the next level comes in, and I thought that was kind of cool. More than anything, I really loved how this movie is like a big Me Too movie, but not where it's like hammering you over the head to like women are powerful. Like, of course women are powerful, but like I love that Lee Winnell really took this idea of like how abuse is always there for women, whether the man is gone or not. Or well, no, I guess in this case the man is gone, and I love that like there's like this specter of that always with women who have been abused mentally, physically, and like that in the opening 30 minutes, that is a constant thing where Elizabeth Moss, who's fantastic in this movie, she is always reminded of the abuse she suffered, and the tying that into the Invisible Man and this universe of monsters, like it's a master stroke, and like I've made myself clear before. Where like I don't like when movies hammer home an idea, and that does not happen here. Like Winnell is smart enough to just let the genre take over and not the themes.
I don't want to say, I don't know the best way to put this, but when you think of, if someone pitches to you, what would you do with The Invisible Man in 2020? This is the movie. Like, I'm not saying it's the easy choice, but it's the easy choice, and it was the right choice. Like,
right.
And one thing Leigh Whannell does very well, you don't know what this domestic abuse was.
Yeah.
You don't know what he said, what he did to her. You don't know. It's just set up right away. Now she's leaving because of whatever happened in the past.
Yeah. Well, and I
think it's very smart to not show it in this case.
But what's great about the opening sequence is that Elizabeth Moss does so well conveying that she's afraid of this guy, just by looking at him and shuddering and all this. So this is. I mean, I think people are so into this movie because 2020 has been like pretty lackluster so far. You know, like the bar's so low.
Yeah.
And it's like,
or Sonic the Hedgehog was the best movie of the year, and like, before this,
the bar is so low that everyone's like, "Oh my god, Invisible Man's incredible!" And like, it's very good, but I don't know if it's like must see. In my opinion, I'm recommending it to people, but like, I don't think it's like
for the movies that have. I think it's the first where you're like, if you're only going to go to the theater a couple, like maybe once a month, type of thing, and you haven't gone yet this year, I'm like, this is the first one you got to see in the theaters.
I would definitely agree, and I'm also like, I hate seeing horror movies in theaters, like, because they turn the sound up and then the jump scares. Like, if that's you, like, go see this movie, because there's only like really one sequence, which is terrific, by the way, where like I jumped, and I was so glad I did, because it really got me, and it was really earned too. I'm thinking of the attic sequence.
Okay.
I don't want to ruin
the one that got me was a restaurant sequence when something
that scared
happens.
you?
It was just not expected.
Oh, I saw.
I wasn't scared.
I totally. Well, because I saw the trailer and like I was like, okay, well, how does she get arrested? Like, at what point does she? And then when that sequence, like when she was there, I was kind of like, okay, something is happening here. The one thing I thought was really interesting was, other than the opening sequence and the end, like, there's no cameras in the movie. There's no security cameras, and I kind of thought that was convenient. You know, like, oh, those.
That's been a complaint quite a bit.
There's one sequence with the security guards where like a lot of them get destroyed, and like it's like, oh, they all vouched for you, and it's kind of like, did cameras not? Were there no cameras in this behavioral health center? Like, how is that possible?
They even set I would have to look back into what I said after that scene, but they set up that there's cameras in that behavioral health place.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, I'm just curious why. Yeah, I mean, and I get it. It's a movie, so like we gotta set aside some sort of disbelief. But
people, the complaints about cameras that I've heard are during the restaurant scene. And I'm like, I don't know many restaurants that would necessarily have a camera.
It's 2020.
Depends.
It's 2020.
Yeah.
But this is a very strong movie. I recommend it. I cannot wait to see what Whannell does next, because this guy's the real deal. You know, like, I don't think this is as good as Upgrade, but it's not a step.
I'll agree.
It's not a step down though either. You know, it's just kind of.
It's a very different movie.
It's a very different movie, and maybe on subsequent watches I'll enjoy it more.
It's definitely his strongest horror film so far. It makes sense why Universal has signed an exclusive first look deal with him.
Yeah.
There's like, even now I still compare him to James Wan, unfortunately, just because I think their names will forever be intertwined with each other.
Yeah.
There's some James Wan-esque horror scenes in this movie, like where the camera starts somewhere and then it moves to something else. That's like, it's a James Wan Insidious Conjuring shot.
And that's what's so great about Whannell's direction, is like he makes you like, okay, like, is there something in this spot, or is there not? And the way he moves his camera is always just tricking you into things. And so the paranoia of that stuff really works well. I just don't think it holds up throughout the movie, but that's just me.
Yeah, I loved it. I think it's definitely the first must-see of the year for me. It's definitely, when we get to our end of 2020.
It'll probably be here.
It'll probably be on our list somewhere.
We'll see.
Let's jump to our last movie that we got.
I'll let you intro this because you watched it.
We both watched it.
I watched it a few weeks ago.
Okay, so yeah, I was looking through your Instagram and Letterboxd. I'm like, well, let's see what else I have that maybe I should talk about, since you have watched it as well. This is Dario Argento's Tenebrae.
Yeah.
Or in the version I watched, Unsane. Let's start with that. I watched this on Tubi under the title Unsane.
Yeah.
The picture quality is terrible. The sound quality is terrible. It is missing scenes from the movie that are in subsequent Blu-ray releases. But besides that, I loved the film.
Yeah.
And I didn't even watch it in its peak quality either.
Yeah.
So I think that's a testament to the movie itself. I said in my review on Instagram of the movie, it's the Giallo of all Giallos.
Yeah,
it is literally about Giallo books within a Giallo movie.
It's the best. I love this movie. It's probably like, I think I gave it a 4, but like it's because I just don't hand out 5-star ratings. But like, I'd seen it before. I'd seen it a couple times before. And I don't think I really ever truly appreciated it until I kind of like did some research into like what Giallos are and what specifically Giallos do.
Yes.
And so when I had that knowledge, I went back and watched it a few weeks ago, and man, this movie's a lot of fun. There's a sequence where Argento like follows these 2 women in an apartment building with a camera, and it's unbroken, and it moves from like level to level, and it's really cool like music.
Fantastic crane shot during that. The music in this movie is
it's
so good.
And I love the Suspiria score, and I love the Deep Red score, but this might be like my favorite Argento.
So when the movie starts, it's on the flame in the beginning, and the music starts kicking up. I cranked it up at least like 20 levels higher. I'm like, yep, I'm cranking this up.
Yeah. The ending is just nuts. Like, there's so many like small little horror sequences built into this whole like 10-minute ending, and like I said,
and I like when horror movies end with like, here's the reveal. No wait, here's the this is it. This is the end, like type of thing.
And I think I said on my Instagram post, like, how often do you see a movie where a woman screaming is the last thing you hear in a movie? Like, it's just nuts. Yeah, I love Tenebrae. It's probably like my, I don't know. I love Deep Red. But like, I think this might be like my second favorite Argento movie. Like, I think on a sentimental value, Suspiria will always be my favorite. But this might be like his best for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I like immediately after watching it, and whenever I watch a movie, I like to look up stuff after. So I was like, why am I watching the Unsane version and not Tenebrae? And I looked it up, and I saw some of the scenes that I'm missing. I'm like, oh my god, I'm missing some of the great sequences. Like, there's a part where a woman's arm gets cut off, and this blood is spraying on the.
Yeah, you definitely missed.
That's not in that.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, that scene is nuts. How it even plays out. Like, you need to come over to my house and watch.
We're gonna have to watch it. Yeah. I just had to find the
and this is why I invited you over last night, because I was like, he needs to watch like.
Well, okay. So we brought up Tubi earlier. Usually Tubi has restored versions on there, and
with a lot of like.
But it depends.
With a lot of European, and especially Italian horror movies, I like, I've had to do my due diligence to kind of like, all right, is this the full cut that I'm getting? So. If I see like there's different cuts, I'll do my best to find out which cut is essential and watch that one. So
yeah, this is gonna be. I'm just gonna buy the movie at this point. I'm like, I have to buy it because I have to watch this full cut.
You might need a region-free Blu-ray.
There is there for some versions there is. Yeah, but I found a.
But yeah, you need like
Region A one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is I think it's a must watch.
Yeah.
It's definitely a must watch.
I'd say
I've seen 4 Argento movies because I had to look back. I'm like, what have I seen? So I've seen Suspiria, Deep Red. I've seen Inferno.
Inferno's great too.
And then I've seen Tenebrae.
Yeah.
I think peak is still Deep Red and Suspiria. And Tenebrae is right up there with it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to rank those 3. I think all 3 are fantastic.
Yeah. Phenomena is great. And so is Opera. Those 2 are phenomenal.
After watching this, I'm going to watch this. Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I even enjoy Four Flies on Grey Velvet. I like Cat o' Nine Tails, and I like The Bird with the Crystal Plumage too. Those are all fantastic as well. So his like 67 to like 87 is awesome.
We should do just one of these months because we do 2 episodes a month.
Yeah.
We should do Fulci one, Argento the other, and do like an Italian month.
I got a lot of watching to do.
That's all right. We can do it.
Okay.
I'm not saying right away.
Right.
But we'll figure out an Italian
maybe next
month.
year or something.
Yeah. So that's what we watched. Did you want to talk about where?
I completely forgot. We still have a whole section to do.
We still have a whole section to do. Those are. What's your highest recommend out of everything that you've watched?
Tenebrae.
Yeah.
Tenebrae. Watch Tenebrae.
I have Tenebrae pieces in Midsummer. I think are my big three.
Yeah. So. My top three are Tenebrae, Tenebrae, and Tenebrae.
Yeah, and I didn't even watch, like I said, the full cut of Tenebrae. That's how good it is. I'm excited. I'm like more excited to now watch
the uncut version.
Dude,
it's so good.
I'm excited for it.
It's so good.
All right, let's get into our main topic. Wow. We're an hour into this already.
Hell yeah.
That's all right.
We can breeze through this part.
No, it's good. We're talking horror. I think people dig it. At least we dig it.
We dig it.
So yeah, let's do this. Blake, you want to explain the rules for this countdown?
So Casey and I are going to create a top 8 of what we think are some of the scariest scenes in non-horror movies. Mm-hmm. And before we got on air, we just decided that I'll give Casey the top spot and I'll just go first, and we'll just alternate. This is going to be a pretty non-competitive draft today.
Yeah.
We're just going to have some fun talking about some movies that maybe we saw younger that really had a lasting impact on us, that were not like straight up horror movies, although one of mine might be. Two of mine might be. But
I have a few that may be borderline.
Right. Like what we talked about earlier, like horror is such a huge umbrella nowadays that movies about drug violence are considered horror movies. So I don't have a veto with me, and I don't think I'm going to need one. Yeah. So this is going to be pretty straightforward, but we usually have some stuff, some fun stuff lined up. But this will be a little different today.
It'll be a little more laid back.
Yeah.
We both will have vetoes. I'm going to leave that in there in case one of us plays one that should be higher.
We do both have vetoes. I cannot find mine, so I'm not worried about it right now. But yeah. I can kick it off if you want.
You got the number 8.
I don't know what I'm going to play, so give me a second here if you want to play some clown music or something.
Yes. Don't talk about clowns right now. That's a fear right there. We might talk about it. So Blake will have the number 8, 6, 4, and 2. I will have 7, 5, 3, and 1. This is going to be a fun countdown because I don't have any idea what you're playing. You have no idea.
I don't.
And there's so many parameters that could fall into this.
And this is hard because I feel like at least 6 of my picks I would go like top 3. So one of these is going to be like super scary to me. But I'm
just interested to see what you pick.
Okay. So with my first pick at number 8, I'm going to go with Pinocchio. The scene where boys turn into goats.
All right.
I have not seen this movie as an adult. I can't imagine it plays any differently than when you watch it as a kid, which was terrifying. Where Pinocchio goes to he goes to like the island of Lost Boys or something, and all of a sudden like they drink the beer and they're playing pool, and all of a sudden they start turning into goats, and it's terrifying. And why I think it needs to be here is because Pinocchio came out like the 30s, and
aimed for kids.
And this is the sequence, like, it's still effective today, So, Pinocchio. For me, like, this would be like number 1 based on like classic status. Mm-hmm. But for me, there was more terrifying scenes.
Yeah.
So,
and when's the last time you watched Pinocchio?
Oh, probably when I was like 5 or 6.
Okay, I was just gonna say I have not watched this movie since I was that age. So.
But
yeah, this is a terrifying.
It's affected me so I don't have like nightmares now, but like I remember just being so scared when I saw this movie that I didn't want to watch it again. And I talked to a lot of people who were like, "Yeah, that scene in Pinocchio like really got to me." It's Pinocchio.
All right, great. I dig it. I remember this. I don't remember anything about Pinocchio. I remember this though.
Yeah.
All right, so I have the number 7 here.
Super stoked.
I'll go with a personal one right here because I think I just want it on the list because it just legitimately terrified me. So this is from a movie that is definitely not a horror movie. It's a family comedy. And I watched it a ton of times as a kid, and I absolutely loved watching it. And then I recently rewatched it, just out of the blue, just because I hadn't seen it in a while. And that's the John Ritter film, Problem Child. Okay? But I had just rewatched it within the last couple months. And there's a sequence at the end where the child is getting abducted by this man, and they're running through this carnival, and a clown just pops out, and he's like, "Hey, look, a giraffe!" I don't know why. I hate clowns for one. That's why. But immediately when he popped out, and we're kind of laughing at this fun movie, when he popped out, I screamed.
The first time?
No, as a 25-year-old man, I screamed.
Really?
I hate clowns, dude.
Okay.
Like, I have a legitimate fear of clowns. Not Pennywise or Killer Clowns.
Okay, I was gonna
normal
say
circus
your
clowns.
doormat to your house is literally Pennywise.
I don't care. Pennywise is, he's spooky. Normal circus clowns terrify me. Okay. And this is just a normal circus clown, and just, they're running through, like, between the tents at a circus, and this clown just, boom, pops out, and I screamed.
Huh.
So, yeah, that's my problem child. Look, a clown.
I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
But I don't remember this at all.
No, it is such a small scene, too, but it just legitimately terrified me.
Wow, all right.
I had to look up, like, where did this happen in the movie again?
Did not expect this pick at all.
So, yeah, it is totally just a personal pick. No one else is ever going to have this. But I hate clowns that much that I literally screamed at my TV as a 25-year-old man watching Problem Child. The movie's still fun. I think it still holds up pretty well.
I have not seen it since I was a kid.
Kid's a jerk.
Here's the thing. I have like a definitive number one.
Okay.
Which I'll play at number two. Because I doubt you have it.
All right. I have a legitimate number one. Good thing I have the number one.
Everything else, I really don't.
We'll talk about discards too.
So. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I just, like, what's scarier to me?
Dude, I just played Problem Child. You can play whatever you want.
Yeah, you did set the bar pretty low there.
Yeah.
All right, this is a pretty recent movie. This is a movie by a recent Academy Award winner. Came out a couple years ago. It's about a giant pig. And have you haven't know?
I've seen the movie.
Okay. I'm doing Okja. And my title for the card is Production Line of Death. And the reason why I'm picking this is it's not so much it's scary, it's more terrifying to me. The movie does a very good job of setting up this relationship with this girl and her pet pig, Okja. And just Bong Joon-ho's always been the master at switching up tonally through his movies, where you're laughing 1 second and then absolutely terrified the next, and then like laughing the next. And Okja is a movie that completely rides on tonal changes throughout, where it's really it's a playful anime at one point where they're playing in the forest, and like Okja is like taking these big giant dumps in the water, and then Jake Gyllenhaal comes in. He's this huge character. And then it kind of moves into like serious territory where they want to take the pig back and make it this big star. And then it moves back into playful fun where like they're like going through the streets of Seoul, and the pig's running and knocking stuff over. And then it kind of turns a little ugly at one point where Okja is sexually assaulted. And then it turns playful again, and you're like, oh, this is a wild ride. And then the movie like all of a sudden like goes extremely dark at the end, and where Paul Dano's telling this girl like, we found Okja, we need to get him right now. And like all of a sudden like the mood changes, that there's like really like this undercurrent of dark music, and like you go to like where they're killing, like there's literally like a line of pigs that they're just shooting in the head to make food out of. And Okja is up next. And like I remember watching Okja with my wife for the first time. I've seen it a couple times. The first time where like my hand was on the armrest, and like I was gripping it so hard because I was just so into what was happening. And I mean, this might be spoilers, whatever. Just you need to still watch this movie. But like when like this little girl has to buy Okja's life with gold. Like that's how sad these people are. Like they won't even let one pig go. She has to buy her own pig back. I just remember like having this huge relief at the end of this, and not quite scary, but just more terrifying to me, where I just could not believe how dark the movie just twisted on itself. Also,
this is a pretty real life terror.
Yeah.
Too, because this happens. This is a real thing. This is what goes on.
Yeah. So, I actually didn't expect to play this until like right now, but number 6.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go with a jump scare scene from a very popular franchise involving one ring to rule them all.
Oh,
Fellowship of the Rings. This is where Bilbo
really
sees his ring for the first time in many, many years, and
interesting pick.
turns into a weird zombie for all of 2 seconds.
Both
and
of,
scares
both,
the
both of your
shit.
picks are like minute part of the movies, right?
Yeah, very.
Interesting.
Both I would say were jump scare scenes. This is very much a jump scare scene where he just pops out at Elijah Wood's Frodo Baggins, and just kind of scares the shit out of everyone for that sequence. Yeah. It is very minute, but I think it's a very important scene to have in this movie as well for Fellowship of the Ring, to show how much influence this ring has. Where Bilbo hasn't seen this in years, but he just gets a glimpse of Frodo wearing it.
Sees the power of it.
And sees the power and just wants to hold that power one more time, and he just instantly switches into this zombie-like looking creature. For all, like I said, it's probably a 2-second scene of him.
2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah. This is, I think it has to be on here because it is a jump scare scene within a sweeping fantasy epic film.
Yeah. It's
and I think it has to fit.
Yeah, it's not a horror movie at all. So.
No, but it also it still shows Peter Jackson's horror roots, and I think that entire series does.
Yeah, I do too.
And yeah, that's a horror scene right there. Someone going mad with power, has lost that power, and now sees that power standing right in front of him once again, and his demeanor goes from playful Bilbo Baggins, dancing around, with the hobbits, and immediately goes to dark. I'm gonna rip out your soul for that ring.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
Yeah, Bilbo Baggins goes mad with power from Fellowship of the Ring.
When I was doing my research this past week, that popped. Like I typed in scary scenes and non-horror, and that movie scene popped up a lot, and I was like, really? But hey, we all have our thing, right? Yeah. So interesting pick.
Especially since the first time I watched it, I didn't expect that at all, because I knew what Lord of the Rings was and was about. To see a horror scene in there, I thought that was fun.
Yeah. My favorite Peter Jacksonism from his horror roots that's in Lord of the Rings is when the orcs are born and they're and the camera twisting slowly in on them. I love stuff like that. So, all right. My number 4 pick is a scene that I feel like it made my heart stop when I first saw this movie. You could argue this is a horror movie.
Okay.
You could also argue that it's very much not a horror movie. It's David Lynch's Mulholland Drive, and I'm speaking about the bum sequence from the movie. There is have you seen this movie?
No.
Okay. There's a sequence early on in the movie where 2 men are in a restaurant somewhere in Los Angeles, and you'd never met them before in the movie. They're just there talking, and then one guy is explaining a dream he had where he's telling the guy that he's with, I had a dream just like this. You and I were talking just like this at the same table, and this person was behind the counter. He looks behind him. The person's there, and he said, and out behind this place, there is the scariest person I've ever seen hanging out behind this restaurant. And so then the other guy tells him, well, we need to go out there and look. And the guy's like, well, I don't want to. And then he's like, no, we need to go and make sure that you're not dreaming or something. So They walk out the back door of this restaurant, and they're slowly walking, and one guy's walking quick, and the other guy's kind of like, oh, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. And they get, they're walking along this wall, and the wall, you see the wall ending, and the camera's pushing in on the ending of the wall, and all of a sudden this bum just covered in garbage and black makeup, just all the person does is just moves out from behind the wall, and the sound design just kind of emphasizes the movement, and the guy faints. And it's just the way, David Lynch is a master at sound design with these lo-fi frequencies that really drive home the evilness that he's trying to convey. And this sequence, when I first saw it, I swear to God I had a heart attack. I was probably 18 when I saw it, 17. The person who plays the bum is now the nun. in the Conjuring movies. It's this Spanish lady, I think. But I think people who have seen Mulholland Drive will definitely agree that this is like a super, super terrifying sequence. And it's the scene inside the restaurant is probably like a minute or two, and then the scene in the back is even less. But man, and I know I'm ruining the part for you, but you'll still when you watch it, you'll understand like why it's just so affecting, and you kind of got to experience what David Lynch is doing with sound and his camera movement and stuff. But when I was making my list and putting my picks together, I was like, "There's no way Mulholland Drive is not making it." So that's my number 4.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited to watch it.
You can borrow my copy.
I
have the Criterion, so you can borrow
it. My next one here, I'm gonna go back to childhood trauma.
Of course. Of course.
That's what this episode's all about.
Interesting. All of mine are going to be as an adult, except for one.
But this was childhood trauma turned into I recently watched this as an adult.
Okay.
And it's still terrifying.
Okay.
So to set it up, I think I saw the movie as a kid. I think I did. I'm not sure if I have, though. But I vividly remember the cover to this movie and being terrified of the cover. Okay? That is...
I have no idea what you're going to play.
Disney's Return to Oz.
I've never seen it.
The Wheelers from Hell is what I will call them.
Okay.
Do you know what these guys look like?
No.
I will show you a picture. Yeah, I don't know if I watched this as a kid. I think I rented it from I vividly remember it at the library because that's where I always saw it. And I'm not sure if we ever rented it, but I remember this cover, and it's just a weird-looking scarecrow and kind of a Tin Man-looking thing and a weird coward. Like, I love Wizard of Oz, and I just loved the movie as a kid, and I rewatched it over and over, and I'm like, well, there's another one. There's a Return to Oz. It's a different Dorothy.
This is with Fairuza Balk, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, it's a different Dorothy. That's okay. And then I looked at the rest of the characters. I'm like, you're not this scary. Like, you're not what I remember. And then... in the movie when she's returning to this just decimated, gross-looking Oz, like everything is horrible. Cowardly Lion is turned into a statue. Like it's a pretty messed up movie in itself. But when she returns first back to Oz, she sees these guys that have. How do I describe it? Even they're kind of these mechanical-looking things, and their hind legs are smaller wheels, and their fronts are big wheels, and they're kind of arched over, and that's how they roam around this area. But there's dozens and dozens of them, and they're like, "Get out of here, little girl!" Like just their voices they use, and they're not like humanoid looking really, but yeah, it's just the craziest looking design that I have seen in a children's type of movie. And yeah, it's still terrifying to this day because I had just rewatched it a few weeks ago. I'm like, I can't remember if I watched this entire movie at all, and I want to see how it plays out having seen Wizard of Oz a million times. And yeah, it's a very, very dark movie. Yeah. There's obviously hints to that original Wizard of Oz in many ways, but it's a very different type of movie. And these Wheelers are terrifying.
Yeah, I had like a weird childhood where like I watched stuff that I shouldn't have, but I never dipped my toes into like dark fantasy. So I've never seen this. I've never seen The Dark Crystal. I've never seen what's that Bowie movie?
Labyrinth?
The Labyrinth. I've never seen that. So I've somehow just not seen these movies, and I really want to, but I feel like it would be it would make a lot of sense now since I'm not a kid, but.
Yeah. Here's a picture for you, if you can see it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's in a kid's movie.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I can see why.
And there's dozens of them.
Yeah, I can see why.
Like chasing Dorothy around the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty terrifying scene. The rest of the movie is just as weird and
I'm sure
kooky. And
is that the one with Diana Ross?
I don't remember.
Didn't Michael Jackson do some sort of...
Yes, that was... what is that called?
I don't know.
Yeah, he plays the Scarecrow in that, Michael Jackson one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll look it up quick.
Yeah,
We'll
okay.
go to yours. I can't remember what it's called.
All right. My number 2, I guess, would be my number 1. This was the movie when you're like, hey, let's do this. The Wiz, I see now.
The Wiz.
This is the movie this is the sequence that I thought of immediately. The first thing I thought of when you gave me the idea. Again, I saw it as an adult.
Okay.
It's Zodiac, the basement scene. Have you seen Zodiac?
I've seen. It's been a while since I've seen Zodiac.
This scene is intense.
I would argue Zodiac's a horror movie.
No, it is not. But
compared to Problem Child, it's a horror.
Well, I mean, yeah. Compared to yeah. So there's a sequence in Zodiac late in the movie where Jake Gyllenhaal is on the hunt to figure out who this person is, and he is trying to match up handwriting samples, and he finds himself, I believe, at some guy's house because of a movie poster or something. And the guy's like, oh, I got a ton of stuff in the basement. And so they go down there, and one revelation flips this relationship between these two people on its head. And it's raining outside, it's thundering, lightning. Again, a lot of great work with sound design in this movie. And, like, there's no music. And all of a sudden, like, Jake Gyllenhaal thinks he hears... And I don't know if, like, he thinks he hears footsteps or if there actually is footsteps upstairs. It could be his mind playing tricks on him. But you hear on the soundtrack footsteps walking above him, and Jake Gyllenhaal asks, "Are we alone right now? Or is somebody else here?" And he's like, "I want to go right now." And like, he is trying to get out of the house. The door is locked from the inside. The guy is like fumbling his keys and kind of like maybe even playing with him, kind of like, "Oh, I can't get the key. Why is it not working?" And like the whole thing plays out over like, I don't know, maybe like 5 to 7 minutes. But every time I've seen this movie, it floors me how intense it is, just by the simplest means. And this was like my number one the entire time.
Yeah. When I looked up this topic, this was definitely one that
was it? Okay.
that was popping up on some lists. Yeah, Zodiac is one of my favorite Fincher movies.
It's his best movie.
It is. I would not disargue that. I think it's my favorite one. Fincher's. But yeah, it has just a very dark undertone throughout the movie, and yeah, this scene is one of those standouts for the movie too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to go adult with the next one.
Of course you're not.
I'm not. We talked about the number one already.
Today?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, we did talk about it. It's on the wall right over there.
Uh-oh.
Number one, scariest scene from a non-horror movie.
Is it from the first It movie?
It has to be from the first It movie. That is The Tunnel from Hell.
You ruined this list.
the Tunnel from Hell from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah, it's the number one for me. This was always, no matter what order we would have been in, it would be my number one at 1 or 2, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
This movie has had a lot of influence on my life because I grew up watching it, loving it. I think it also helped develop my love of horror in a way because it was a segue into it because it's just a scene in the movie.
Yeah.
When the rest of the movie is pretty fun and lighthearted.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Tunnel from Hell scene after Augustus Gloop is sucked up into
which is also like a terrifying sequence.
I think all the children's deaths are terrifying in this movie, but the Tunnel from Hell, especially because of Gene Wilder, is why this is so scary. There's of course the scary imagery and stuff of like the maggots on whatever. I think a bird gets its head chopped off. There's like just other spooky imagery throughout it.
Yeah, this is back when like kids movies were taken seriously. Mm-hmm. You know, like we didn't like dumb stuff down or neuter.
Yeah, and we talked about some of the other Roald Dahl stuff in the children's horror because I think he delves very much into children's horror with a lot of his stuff, which is Matilda.
I think his imagery, even in his books, are pretty terrifying.
But yeah, this especially, I think this is the scariest scene because of Gene Wilder. Just the way he's singing the tune, "There is no way the wind is blowing." Just the tone of voice, and then like the color that's on his face as well. Like, I rewatched it right before you came in just to have it fresh in my mind. The color reminds me of Suspiria.
Yeah,
sure. And Gene Wilder's fantastic in it, in the way he's singing. And then there's a point where he's done singing, and he just screams like at the top of his lungs, like at a really high pitch. And everybody else on the boat is freaking out. What the hell is going on? And just Gene Wilder screaming out at the top of his lungs.
I love that movie, and what I found really interesting is I hadn't watched it in maybe like 20 years until, I don't know, man, I think I watched it maybe like 5 years ago. and I didn't realize how long it took to get to the chocolate factory. It takes, I would say, easily 50 minutes to get there. When I was a kid, I thought, of course, most of your memories from that movie are in
the chocolate factory.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, a lot of the movie, but like they don't get there till almost an hour into the movie, which I find incredible. But
yeah, this is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my God, I even like the Tim Burton remake.
I don't.
Okay.
But we don't need to talk about it. Gene Wilder is one of my favorite performances ever as Willy Wonka in this movie.
This one? You don't like him otherwise?
No, I love Gene Wilder.
Okay.
But this specifically, as a single performance.
My dad loved Gene Wilder, so I grew up with him. I watched all of his stuff with my dad. But
I didn't really. Yeah. This was kind of the only one I was allowed to watch.
You should watch See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
I love it. Oh my God, I love Young Frankenstein. So funny. Love Blazing Saddles. Gene Wilder.
Silver Streak.
He's just so much fun.
He's the best.
So this was always going to be my number one to have up here, the Tunnel of Terror.
So if I had done number two, would you have stabbed it off?
That's why I mentioned we're still have stabs. I would have stabbed it to number one.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So what do we got in discards? I'm interested to see what else.
My first discard is Willy Wonka, Chocolate Factory. I just call it the ferry ride.
Okay.
Ferry
ride from hell.
This is where my possible horror movie would have come into play. Signs, The Brazilian Birthday.
Yep.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Spawn Ranch is an incredible horror sequence.
Honorable mention of mine as well.
Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me has a terribly insidious sequence where the main character suffers like a sexual assault, and it's all fantasized by like this demon. And again, it's a David Lynch movie, and the way he uses sound and light and smoke and strobe lights and silence, like it's a brilliant sequence. And I've watched it, I don't know, maybe like a couple months ago, and I still found it to be quite terrifying. Requiem for a Dream, where everyone has meltdowns at the end, I think is a very, very. I mean, it's more sad than anything. But
which one are you like most terrified of? I guess is the best way to put it. Well, like which one of those were like, oh no, like that?
Probably Jennifer Connelly's storyline.
The one with Jared Leto's mom is the one that gets me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's all sad and scary, but
yeah.
And then my final one is Fire in the Sky. It's a movie about. It's a movie based on a true story where 4 men where they claim to have been abducted by aliens, and there is a sequence in the movie where they show what happens to them. And I remember watching it on TV, and I remember like not being able to sleep for it felt like a week, and I felt like any kind of like bright light that shined in my window at night, like I was like, all right, this is happening. It's probably like. I probably should have played it, but like my 4 that I played are pretty solid choices, and this is up there as well. This is like maybe like the 5th one or something. So this is like my kid pick. Like I saw this as a kid, and it just like it
stuck with you.
Imprinted in my head. Yeah. So those are my discards.
One that I had on here just because I saw it pop up a lot. I guess it never scared me watching it. Doc Ock lives in Spider-Man 2.
I for sure thought you were playing that.
It just never scared me. I always thought it was just a lot of fun.
It's a horror sequence.
It is definitely a horror sequence within the Spider-Man movie. I always thought it was a lot of fun because there's the nurse like screaming her head off right in front of the camera. I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah. That's where Raimi got to like be Raimi.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I had to write it down because I think it lended itself to what I would go into later in horror, obviously. Then my next 2 I think are borderline horror. Jurassic Park.
Not horror.
The T-Rex breakout. For me, this is when I watched it as a kid because my cousins were watching it on TV and they're like, well, a guy gets eaten on the toilet. And I'm like, okay. And then they're like, well, you better not be scared watching it. So I watched it and I was terrified and I left the room after the guy gets eaten.
This is why
I was probably 5 years old.
When we were texting and I said, this is such a subjective subject. For me, it's more of an action sequence than anything, but I wouldn't have vetoed it.
Oh, now I would not. I'm not scared of it at all. But as a 5-year-old kid, I was terrified of a T-Rex eating me off the toilet.
Right. Yeah.
That's why I was scared of
Sure.
it. The next one was mentioned in the kids' horror, which you haven't listened to yet, but you know about this play. It's from the movie E.T.
Okay.
Not a horror movie. E.T.'s death is terrifying. When he's dead and lying on the gurney and completely a pale, gross color, looking
I actually
like
thought the sequence where they find him in the forest, pale and white, was worse. But I suppose it's like it's all one big sequence possibly. But
yeah, just when he's lying on the gurney, just dead, pale white, looking like a dried up dog turd.
Yeah.
Yeah, it scared me.
Okay.
Yeah, but then it's a bright, happy ending, obviously after that. So
yeah.
Yeah,
definitely not a horror movie.
No,
I don't know why that would be.
Caleb had played it.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, because she's terrified of E.T.
Did you veto it?
Yes.
You could almost commission or override that, though, couldn't you?
There was no one else here.
I suppose. You could have called me and been
Yeah.
like, hey, what the hell is... And I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I used it on it. It was well worth it because it's just not. But yeah, look at this list.
This is fun.
This is a crazy
We
list.
kind of breezed through that. That's okay.
That's all right.
We talked a little bit.
Yeah, let's run through the list one more time here. Number 8 for the top 8 scariest scenes in a non-horror film. Number 8, Pinocchio, where boys turn into goats. Number 7, Problem Child, a clown popping out. Okja, the production line of death. Fellowship of the Rings, Bilbo Baggins Goes Mad. Number 4, Mulholland Drive, The Bum. Number 3, Return to Oz, The Wheelers from Hell. Number 2, Zodiac, the Jake Gyllenhaal basement scene. And then number 1, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Tunnel Ride of Terror.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a fun list.
It was fun.
Yeah. Movies that we will probably never talk about ever again on the Killer Countdown. But
we don't know that.
We don't know that.
Yeah.
We could do a Roald Dahl episode. There's a lot of scary stuff in that.
Yeah.
So
It totally is.
yeah. So yeah, let's wrap this thing up. Should we announce what we're doing next?
What are we doing? Actually, I don't even know.
We are a couple of the movies I mentioned in my recent watches.
Is that the next one?
That is our next
Very cool.
one. We are talking slashers without a sequel or a remake. It's a standalone slasher movie.
I have to give Matt props. That's a really unique.
It's a very unique topic.
So when he said that, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I wonder what's available. And then,
It's quite the list that's
Yeah,
available after you look at it.
I might do a prediction for this one.
Okay,
So
let's do it.
when I host, I might have like my own list of like, not where, but like just what's played.
Okay.
But that'll be fun. And then I can't wait for we're doing a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah. So the episode
And
after that is Black Mirror.
And I've been
episodes.
like doing some. I've been getting into the research. So I'm super stoked to see what. So, not to spoil anything. Brian brought up an episode on a recent episode of your normal show, and I was like, okay, interesting. So
Yeah.
I'm super psyched to see what Brian and Adam play. So Adam is coming back from the Child's Play countdown. He's a big Black Mirror fan, so it's gonna be 3 of us doing that.
Yep.
I think we're doing 12 episodes. And I hope nothing from the last season shows up because it's pretty.
I have
pretty,
no predictions. For
Pretty
this.
awful season, but
yeah.
I'm super stoked to do that
So
one.
next episode will be slashers without a remake or sequel. Myself, Matt Petty, will be on that. He did the post 2000s remakes with you. Crazy episode. Go watch it if you haven't yet. But then 2 weeks after that, the next episode after that will be yourself, Blake.
Yep.
Brian Mensing.
His debut, right?
Debut on the Killer Countdown
Brian's
as a
debut
player.
As a player.
And then Adam Dillenberg returns from the Child's Play episode.
Yeah,
Top 12 Black Mirror episodes.
Super stoked to do that.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I have no idea what to expect.
You should maybe. See, I don't want to give you episode recommendations because
I think I'm going to take recommendations after we watch it, after we do it.
Yeah. Yeah, because
I've seen the first 3 episodes of the first season. That's it.
I like the first season, but it gets better.
The first episode, I'm like, this is what we're starting with? I don't know.
Is that the one where the guy has to...
The politician one.
Yes.
Yes, that is the first one.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, there's another politician one, too.
Okay, it's the pig one.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty ballsy opening.
Yeah.
But...
I was taken aback pretty fast.
Yeah. Man, season 2 is where it really kicks in, and then season 3 and 4 are fantastic.
Yeah, so I'll be looking for recommendations in that one too.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, that'll be our next 2 episodes that we got coming up on the Killer Countdown. But we should plug everything else that we're doing here on Backlot 605. You can check out Backlot 605 and the Killer Countdown on any major podcast streaming service: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcast, and YouTube. Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can join the South Dakota Film Community Group on Facebook as well. Join us in a conversation there. Drop something in the group for us to discuss in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or make fun of you.
Yeah, we'll definitely make... No.
We won't do that.
Yeah, so Blake, where can people find you on the line?
If you feel like sending me a friend request on Facebook, you can. Blake Ginithan. Otherwise, I'm on Instagram. Midwest Cinephile is my handle. I am trying to review everything I watch. I'm about 18 movies behind, but I'm going to try and knock out 2 or 3 a day to catch up. But I review everything I watch. I do star ratings now. Just, and it's very succinct, 3 paragraphs, nothing exorbitant. But yeah, I'm on Instagram under Midwest Cinephile. Casey.
Yeah, I am also on Instagram, Casey_the horror guy. I'm doing what you're doing, except I'm taking it back a notch. I'm doing reviews of every horror movie I watch.
I enjoy your reviews, and I enjoy. You also do something. You do something that I really like is like the TLDR thing. Too long, didn't read. Like the one sentence.
No, the one sentence review.
Yeah. I like that, and I like you use I don't know where you got the emoji from, but like deadheads or something or
zombies.
Yeah. So I really enjoy.
So yeah, I completely stole that from Andy, the fat dude who uses tacos. I'm like, I need something fun to review it. And
you can't eat zombie heads though, so you didn't entirely steal it from him.
No, zombies eat us instead. So that's where
makes sense.
There we go.
That makes sense.
No, it was just the spookiest emoji I could find.
Yeah, and to be fair, tacos eat me. So there we go.
Yeah. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Casey_the horror guy, reviews of every horror movie I watch. I counted my horror movie watches from the first of the year. I'm into 40 of them.
Wow. I think I've hit 40 movies total this year, but I've watched a lot more horror than I ended the year with, so I'm pretty psyched about that.
Yeah, so you can find us there. Yeah, that's pretty much what we got going on. Anything else that we should throw out there? I don't know.
We're planning another live show. Yeah. We got some stuff to lay down yet before we officially announce everything, but we're working on another live show. So if you listen to this and enjoyed our last live show, we're playing another one.
Yeah, and if you want to see the Killer Countdown live, please let us know, because we're planning something Killer Countdown related for a live show down the road.
Planning something killer, for sure.
Definitely something killer. All right. So thank you guys for listening. Please leave us a comment on some of your scariest scenes from non-horror movies. I'd really want to hear people's opinions on this. Not necessarily on our picks, but on your personal picks, because I want to know what terrifies you.
I think we should, when this episode comes out, which I think will be like tomorrow, right?
Yep.
We should post something in the group.
Yes.
And just be like, what are your favorites?
What scares you from non-scary movies?
What are your favorite scary movies from non-horror movies?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Please just let us know. I just want to read the comments on this.
I do too. I wonder how many overlaps we'll have. I'd be willing to bet 3 or 4 show up.
I think there's a few on here that will probably show up.
Maybe not Problem Child, but...
If anyone else plays Problem Child, we will be best friends forever, and you understand my pain.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you all once again for listening, and this has been the Killer Countdown. For Blake Ginithan, I'm Casey Kelderman. And stay spooky.